How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and I wanted to do a sniper tutorial today and just let you know kind of what I know about it, what I've learned, and just tell you a few things that I think might help you actually get started with it, really, because I remember when I did, and it's one of them. That's the big thing I've got to tell you. There's no easy way. I can't just say, oh, equip this, put that on, and you'll be a fucking beast. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put in the graft. You're going to get shot a lot. It's going to piss you off a bit at the start, but you just got to get stuck into it. I've got double high caliber on. At the start, you probably more want to be going for the stabilizer. I'm just so used to it now, and you're doing quick scopes and all that sort of stuff, that I don't get time to feel the benefit of stabilizer because I'm rarely in the scope. But when you're just starting, you will be in the scope more. I've got dead silence. I'm just sick and tired of hearing my own fucking footsteps, but you can put ghost on if you want. Again, like, I run around, but when you're starting sniping, you probably want to calm down and stay back a bit, so you probably could put ghost on. As far as sensitivity goes, I would put between 4 and 6. I'd probably go 5 personally, is what if you were starting. You don't want it. Obviously, people who go up to like 14 and shit, it's just ridiculous. You're not going to like it. If you go too low, it's fine when you're on the other side of the map, but anyone comes close and you just can't turn quick enough. So the first thing to learn, the biggest thing by far, is centering your weapon. You can see there, as soon as I come around the corner, like, you see the 4 white markers on my screen, that's like my crosshairs. I'm always, wherever I think the most likely next shot is going to happen, I'm pre-lining my screen up for that place. So like here, I know I hit the step so I missed it, but I'm already pre-lining up for basically that little L shape cut out of the wood, because I just know, like here, you can see my crosshairs. I'm lined up against the door. If someone peeked out there, I could basically scope straight in and I'll hit them. So you can see here, scope, it's on the door. And that is like the one biggest main thing, is everywhere you run, you can see I'm pre-lining up my aim to the next place, and then she pops out. Alright, it wasn't bang on, but all I had to do was drag it a tiny bit over to the left to hit them. And here again, I'm lining up down there. Now I'm looking in the door, so I could already scope in. And that is the one biggest thing. Again, I'm running here, I go to that door. As I look out here, I line up there, then that door, then that door. As I turn down here, I'm already lined up for the whole channel, but that outside window as well. Then I'm pre-lined for that door. And that's the other thing, is pre-aiming. If you come round a corner that you know someone's likely to be, is just pre-aiming. But these are all the different shots, really. You've got quick scope. The quick scope is just when your pre-centering has gone well, you're already on target, and all you need to do is scope in and fire. So all you need to do is, to get good at that, is get used to how long it takes to scope in and fire in as it's fully scoped. So that one was drag shooting, where you just drag it across. You haven't centered it, so you've now got to drag your shot. So again, to practice that, just practice sweeping across something and firing at the right precise moment so it actually hits them. And then you've got stuff like, I call it sort of wait scoping, like as in wait your turn, where you just wait for that person to run into your crosshair. So like here, I don't move, I let them come to me. And then you've also got hard scoping, which is this, where you just stay in your scope. So you're going to use a mixture of all of them. This is another thing you want to try and get used to. It's when you hold your breath and walk out of the corner, I'm using my left analog stick to push me left, but I'm aiming, like, so say if I focus on that L shape for a head there, I'm pushing out to the left, but I'm slowly adjusting my other stick to the right to keep my aim centered. So you can see, I'll just get my breath back. I'm pushing out to the left, but I've got, so you're kind of rotating around an axis, but you're aiming at that single point every time. So there's a few things to like practice, like quick scope, drag scope, and just kind of pushing out of cover. But yeah, again, I will keep saying it, center your screen on everything, center it on every doorway you're heading to, every place you think someone is likely to appear. You need to center your screen, because it's going to make life a hell of a lot easier for you. Every time you have to drag it over somewhere, it just doesn't work. And the other thing is this, you see, once I'm scoped in, there I'm wiggling my right analog stick. Here I'm doing my left analog stick. So what you don't want to always do is when you scope in and then you wiggle around like that, it can be hard to hit. Once you're near the target, if you use your left analog stick, not only is my person now moving left to right, so they're harder to shoot, but you can see it's a lot more like finely tuned once you're close to a target. You can see here, I use it here, it's like once I'm near them, I just have to use that left analog stick to sweep it over to them. It's another way of like calming the sensitivity down in a way once you're close. This is just to show you there's no free meals with sniping. Snipers get a bad name because of kill cams that look slightly different. But I'm telling you now, if you fucking skim their shirt but don't get them, it like, sniping is a harsh game. Like, I've got full respect for snipers on any fucking game because they earn their shit. Like, they don't just point and spray, and you see in the kill cams a lot worse. See there, I pre-centered before I moved over, because then once I moved over I knew it'd be centered. And it's just things like this, is just experience. Centering, I left that in. Tomahawks are quite handy. I wouldn't complicate it if you've never used tomahawks, but they obviously rely on centering as well. So this is the first thing you want to be doing, is hard scoping. Just stay in your scope, look around for people, try and stay obviously a bit further back on the map. Camp, don't, you know, fuck what people say about camping. I moan about campers, but I like campers in the game because they're fun to shoot. They're still filthy beasts, but I've camped before. We all do it. It's like, just don't go OTT on it is what I think with people. But anyway, yeah, camp, sit at the back, hard scope, and do that. It's like, a quick scope is just the inevitable result of somebody rushing onto you that you weren't expecting, and you have to be like, oh shit, you scope them. And preferably, we'd all be sat here just doing this all day long. Hard scoping, so that's more of a drag scope, where obviously I wasn't on them and I had to kind of drag it over to them. That again, it's a little bit of a mixture. Your brain, over time, with experience, will work out all kinds of things like, what way are they running, how fast are they moving across the screen, and you know, like when you're flicking it over to them, it's just your brain calculates all this stuff in an absolute fraction of a second. Like there, I could just see he was moving over to the right as I scoped in, and that's about it really. I left some of these pistol shots in because it shows you, I think, a bit better where I sort of use the left analog stick to just move it over to adjust it as a final shot. Is also like a 6-man annihilator shot. I thought it was pretty good. These are all bots, by the way. I'm in a bot game. I'm not trying to look like I'm spanking real people here. It's not bad to go in a bot game to get a feel for it, but bots behave differently to people. And there's a few little things they do, dog's prick, that is different. So no amount of playing in bot games is going to prepare you for human games, but it will a bit. And that's the other thing, is like, obviously people jump out and you get ready to smack them. So you'll see again with this, I know it's not sniping, but it illustrates it easier. When you're scoped in, it's hard to see, but here you can actually just see me moving left and right just as I fire, because it just finely tunes that shot for the last second. See, like that, don't give it you when you, that was fucking close. Like, there's a flick shot. Here's some quick scoping. See, pause there. Humans don't do that. They just behave a little bit differently, but I pulled it back. I had to keep killing myself every now and then anyway, because I kept running out of bullets, and none of them were dropping snipers. But yeah, I left some of these clips in just to... You might want to analyse them, you might want to look through them, just tell you sort of what the different types of shots are. Like I say again, you've got quick scope, drag scope. That's a waiting scope, where I already knew where he was heading, so I wait for him to walk into my scope. Yeah, like I say, drag scope is where you're not centered on them, so you have to drag it over to them. The quick scope is where you are centered, you've done everything right, and like that's a wait scope, or what I would call a wait scope. This is why you don't want your sensitivity too low, because you can see there I was trying to drag it over to them. So it's just like, say, practicing stuff like that. That's again drag scoping. They appear. See how I center them? I know I missed. Hit them with a tomahawk though, but I center them. As soon as I spot them, I then center them in my screen and then aim in, because it just makes it like you a hell of a lot quicker to get your shot on them. Then if you're aiming on them when you're like 8 foot away, you've got to drag your scope all the way over. If you center them quickly, you might only be like a foot away, and then yeah, increases your chances of hitting them before they have a time to react to it, really. And eventually, over time, like, this is hard scoping, but you can see there, I just start to get used to, like, when to, the exact fucking moment to hit that firing button. I've got both of them, that's for fucking wasting me a bullet, bitch. Shouldn't know we're in a recession. Yeah, just, this is all you can do to practice. The only advice I'd say for when you're playing a real game is if it's doing your head in, if you drop, say, 5 more deaths than kills, go back to assault rifles and, you know, rescue your KD a little bit. But there is no easy way. That's why snipers, like, sniping is hard. There's no two ways about it. You need hand-to-eye coordination, and it's the hardest thing to do in this game. You're putting everything on one bullet, and your ability to land that bullet while they can just, say, get an LMG and spray at you, and it doesn't matter how many they miss, they just keep going. So it is the hardest form of shooting in this game. That's why I originally got into it, because when I seen someone sniping, I was like, fucking hell, that looks great if you can pull it off, but it's a hard art to master. I certainly wouldn't say I've mastered it yet, but it's I'm on my way. I'm definitely at a point now where I can pick up a sniper and go into pretty much any lobby, and I'm pretty confident I'm going to come out with a positive KD, and that's fully absolute running and gunning flat out. So yeah, that's not like me sitting at the back and hard scoping or anything anymore. So like I say, this was just a couple of games with bots. I've just got all different mixture of shots on here, just so you can, if you want to look back, you can slow-mo the ones you want, or obviously you don't have to, just, it's all here if you want to look at it. But yeah, the main things, again, just to recap before it ends, is quick scoping is like centre your screen on people and get used to centering to the doorway you head into, the window that they're most likely to look out of, because then it makes your life easier when you actually go to scope in, because they're already like in your crosshairs like that. I didn't have to move it left or right. The next one is the drag scoping. Get used to, like, when you sweep your aim left or right, get used to firing at that precise moment that it gets the hit. You got the weight scoping where you let them run into it. Remember to move with your left analog stick more, and don't wiggle around with your right so much. Again, you'll feel it as each shot. Every shot is different, so you need to feel it. But that's it, really. Just get stuck in and give it a go. Like I say, stick to hard scoping more at first, because that'll just get you used to, like, actually getting the hits. And then as time goes on, dog's a prick, you'll just eventually be like, it'll become quicker. You'll look at someone and you'll hit them quicker, and it'll naturally evolve into a quick scope, because it just will. Like, it's quick enough. That's about all there is to it. Like, I know this is a little bit of a long video, but I just wanted to tell you basically everything I know, and then this is just some shots that the result of many fucking hours of running around with a sniper. Yeah, so that is about it today. So you can see, I'm not... The last thing I will say is, like, there, I'm not aiming at them, I'm aiming at the window. When I go to look round the corner, I'm always looking in the popular spots. So when you see some shots and think, fucking hell, they did well on that, it's like, they're not aiming at the person, they're aiming at where they already thought the person would be, and that place is like a static place, it's not moving, they're just moving into it, and you're hitting them at the right time. And this is the last little couple of things of I ran out of sniper bullets. You don't get to do that in normal lobbies. So enjoy it while you can. But yeah, like I say, that's about it. I hope this helps. Yeah, I'll be back soon with some more stuff. I do love a good tomahawk. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.